What's up guys, welcome back to another video. In today's I want to talk about all the gear that I use as an automotive content creator, mainly filmmaking, and why I use all this certain gear that I've upgraded to throughout the years and why I think it's beneficial for you to know and possibly upgrade to this equipment. So without further ado, there's no fluff in this. Let's get right to it and let's talk about the camera I use mainly every single day. So to begin, it is a Sony and it's a A7S III. Once these came out, I immediately wanted one. I was shooting first on a A6500. This is the first Sony I ever bought. Still have it. I'm probably going to keep it forever because it is kind of some memorabilia. This is what got me into Sony. This is what made me fall in love with Sony, mirrorless in general, and just the UI of Sony. So this I'm probably going to keep forever. But we did immediately upgrade once I saw the A7S III come out. First off, the feel of it, the build quality of it, the form factor. I love the ability of it, going all the way up to 4K 120 with 10-bit color. The crisp quality image that comes out of this thing, video aspect wise, is absolutely incredible. This thing is a, unfortunately, terrible camera for photos, but we don't do that many photos, so it's not that big of a deal. A7S III for video purposes is absolutely amazing. I love this camera so much. Then we actually upgraded to the camera that we're filming on right now. That's the Sony FX3. I got this thing about a year ago. Have used it only for bigger projects. I kind of want to keep it as like that weekend car type vibe. I probably will start to break out the FX3 a little bit more though because of its capabilities. I could build a ton of equipment around it, but the A7S III is always the go-to and has been for over 3.5 years now. So this thing I cannot recommend enough. If you are a Sony shooter and you don't have an A7S III, but you want to pursue filmmaking more than anything else, definitely a recommended camera. So now what do I put in front of this mirrorless sensor? My main go-to lens is a 16-35 f2.8 G Master. This is the first version lens. I got this when we got the Sony A7S III. These two together, this combo, I mean, it's like bread and butter. It is absolutely amazing. Very light, at least maybe I'm just used to it, but it is very light. This whole entire system that could produce the amount of quality images that it does, it's incredible. So the G Master lens, amazing. Build quality is amazing. Focus ring, amazing. Everything about it is really honestly awesome. So the second version, it is a little bit lighter. It is a little bit smaller than this. It's more internal, but I don't see a full need to upgrade yet unless I break this thing. But the 16-35, I love it because I am working in the social industry, in the automotive space. And that means that I have to have content that is not only working for horizontal, like YouTube or maybe some horizontal stuff on social media, but also we have to make it work for social media. So that's vertical clips. So that means at 16, you could have a lot in frame. At 35, you're just getting that compression and getting that cinematic feel. And to have that ability, to have that availability in one lens is absolutely amazing. So this is my go-to. I use it 80-85% of the time, but when I'm not using this lens, this is the other one I use. It's a classic lens that every single automotive filmmaker has probably used once in a lifetime, and that is a 24-70. So this one specifically is another G Master lens, 24-70 f2.8. So both of these are f2.8 apertures. They're the better lens to get in my opinion. You could get the f4s if you're starting out, but definitely the f2.8s give you so much more flexibility, gives you that better compression. You could use these at nighttime so you're not introducing too much grain and having that ability to drop the aperture all the way to 2.8. But these both are absolutely amazing lenses. The build quality on both of them is great. Like I've had these for almost 4 years now. They look like fairly brand new. They work like they're fairly brand new. So it's a really good lens, great glass, high quality, and they both have their uniqueness to the image that they produce. 24-70 I'll mainly use when I want it to be very cinematic. You know, if you look at most movies that are like that cinematic look, they're mainly shot at 70 millimeters. So that allows from this lens. Also goes all the way down to 24, which is wide. Not as wide as this, which is why I love this lens much more. But 24 is a great width if you're trying to go a little bit wider than a normal 35 or 50. But the 24-70 is an amazing lens to break out here and there to give that certain look, that cinematic feel, that deep compression. But if I'm just going with my daily stuff, it's a 16-35 to allow for me to have that flexibility in having horizontal footage as well as using that footage for vertical. But now we can't just depend on the camera and the lens. We also have to depend on what is in front of the glass. So that is a 2-in-1 CPL and ND filter. I was skeptical at first when I looked into 2-in-1s And that's because, you think sometimes the better things get, or the more convenient they get, I should say, maybe the worse off they actually will be in the quality of them. But I was pretty wrong. So this is a newer 2-in-1 82 mil thread pitch, because that is what both of these lenses are. It's a ND2 to ND32 and CPL filter. So how it works is you have the normal twist ring like you would for a polarizer, but then you have this little bar that allows you to adjust the ND. So it actually works fantastic. Do I think it would be a little bit more better quality if it was stacked filters? Most likely, but for the easiness of this setup, you have a camera, you have a lens, and you have a 2-in-1 filter. It works so good for the run and gun filmmakers, for the run and gun photographers, and for only $80, I think it's definitely worth it to try out. If you hate it, then go back to stacked filters or try stacked filters. I don't know if you are even shooting with stacked filters yet, or filters at all. CPL and an ND are the two that are going to change your life forever. That allows you to dial in whatever settings you want on your camera, how you want them, and then you adjust with your filters on the top of your lens. So those are my lenses. That's my camera gear. I will also mention the cards that I use. Lexar. I've been using these ever since I got the A7S III. I did a lot of research about Lexar, Pro Grade, CF Express. These are what I went with because of the price and also the great reviews about them. You're always gonna have bad reviews about some things. It's technology. That's the world we live in nowadays. I have only had these not right to the card, maybe a handful of times. So Lexar, a great card. These write at 300 megabits a second. They're 128 gigs each. I have them in both slots and I record simultaneously. That is because I've had a scare at the beginning where I was not doing that and I lost a good amount of footage. So I said, all right, well, let's record as a backup if I ever need it. And that's how I've been doing it since. Okay, guys, cameras are done. Now we got to have something to put these things on to make our footage very stable. Are you really a videographer if you don't use Ronin? I'm just kidding. That was a joke. But anyways, this is a DJI Ronin RS3 Pro. Picked this bad boy up maybe about 6 or 8 months ago. I was rocking the RS2 for the longest time. Actually started with the RSC2. It's got the massive screen, the carbon arms, the great look, the nice size to it, which this is so portable. That is the best thing about most of the gear I have, is the fact that it's keeping in mind portability and easiness of use. So that is why I have what I have so far that I showed you, and also the RS3 Pro. Great gimbal. Its payload is, I think, over 10 pounds. So you can put a big boy camera on this thing and have no worries at all. All right, if I'm ever doing any talking videos, which I do a lot of in my industry, I'm putting on the Rode VideoMic Pro on top of my camera. This thing has a bunch of adjustability on the back, your decibel level, your high pass filter. It holds a great charge as well too. If you plug this thing in overnight, it fully charges, and then it lasts you many days, many weeks, to be quite honest with you. And yeah, it performs very well. It allows for a nice crisp sound. It's a pretty decent size. It's not too big. And then if we are not doing anything close to the camera and we need some distance, that's when we pop on the DJI Mic 2s, which I don't have with me, but those are always in the bag if we need them. Very easy system to use, nice size to them, nice receivers that are a nice rectangle size. And the cool thing about those as well is that we've actually used those to record some audio for exhaust clips for any vehicle, some turbo noises for some trucks that are got some work done to them. Very nice system because they have magnets that come with them. So you can put the magnet on one of the engine mounts, or the engine brace, or put it on a license plate and clip it and get some quick audio noise. It's not like the craziest quality, but for the size of it, for the easiness of it, it is absolutely amazing and a great thing to have in your arsenal if you are looking to get a ton of audio captured. And then you could obviously upgrade to something like a suction cup mount and a Sennheiser mic and go very big. So that's what we do when we have the time and also are looking to capture some really crisp audio. We have this attached to a Zoom recorder and run the XLR cable all the way down the side and capture some crisp quality sound. But that is it for audio. And no, it isn't. I got one more thing to show you. So these are a recent addition to the family, something I have not used over the many years that I've been shooting rollers, and I don't know how, don't know why, don't know if I was just living under a rock, but maybe that's what it was. So these are the Hollyland Solidcom SE headsets. We actually partnered up. They sent me some stuff, made a video for them, and wow, I love them. They have made communication so much easier. It's just, it's a night and day difference to be able to have immediate communication and be able to say something right away in a split second. What you said and what you want to happen is happening in front of you, compared to turning your back, yelling at the driver of the roller vehicle, and then making sure or hoping for the best that it's going to happen and get directed the right way to the driver of the subject. So these are great. We have a master right here, and then you could get a ton of other ones. This is just one that they sent me, but this will go with the driver of the subject vehicle. This will go on me. I'll be able to direct, not have to do some crazy hand motions. The stress is alleviated. And last but not least, I don't use this as much as I should, but I probably will rig it up full time on my RS3 for 2025. It is a monitor, Automotive Shinobi 4K monitor. Picked it up not too long ago. I was using this when I got the tilter grip. So the tilter grip goes with the RS3. It's the nice ring that comes around. You detach half of the RS3, drop it in on the middle, and that is the way that gimbal works. I did not care for it like at all, so I only used it a couple of times. But Automotive Shinobi 4K monitor, it's a great monitor. Once I've used it, has a lot of cool features in here. You could import LUTs in this thing. You could show all your color space stuff. It's a great monitor, so definitely recommend if you are looking to get a screen that's bigger and rely on something that's a little bit bigger so you can see all your settings, see how your shot's gonna look. Great monitor, Automotive Shinobi 4K. I believe this was just under $500. But then on top of that, something that I am upgrading, I only bought just to try out, was the suction cup mounts. So this is from Delkin. This was from Amazon. I don't know how much, maybe 50 bucks this was. I really just want to try out rigging up a suction cup system with my FX3. I have the small rig cage that goes on that. I twist it onto this thread pitch right here, and we tried that out with our SVJ film. It worked great, so I want to upgrade to the tilter suction cups. So this was something I tried out. I don't recommend fully doing this system full time. It definitely is a little bit cheaper. It did work, but I just want to try it out quickly on a budget and then upgrade if we liked it. But now, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. That is my gear that I use. By the end of 2025, we're probably gonna have a whole different setup, whole different line of gear. Maybe not, might be shooting the same. No, I'm just kidding. We're definitely gonna have some upgrades. If you are starting out, you do not have to start with all this gear. Again, I started with this little guy right here. Sony a6500 with Sigma glass on it. These are my two lenses. I'm keeping all of this because there's no point to sell it to me. This is what started my whole kind of filmmaking career. 30 mil and a 16 mil. So I've always kind of liked the wide look. That's just been my style. I also like to entertain the compressed, the punched in look. But you don't have to start out with all this gear. If you're just starting out, you can start with an iPhone, then build up and get a little gimbal, then build up and get a little Sony, or whatever camera gear you want, or camera manufacturer. So all I gotta say is, if you're watching this, I hope you took away something from this. Maybe you got inspired by some of the gear I have. Maybe you kind of got an inside look of why I use the gear I use. But that is pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video, and we'll see you inside shutter speed.